Hey. Welcome back to this channel, ARMY and K-pop lovers from all around the world. Did you know that a few days ago, there was a moment that made the entire internet suddenly stop breathing? Not an earthquake, not an election, not a rocket launch into outer space, but one Korean man standing on the stage of Stanford Stadium, with long flowing blonde hair like a golden crown, wearing a black leather costume that wrapped around his body like a warrior's armor. And in that one single second, the world collapsed. Yeah, we're talking about Park Jimin. We're talking about the epic moment at the BTS World Tour Arirang concert in Stanford. And we're talking about why this one man could make 50,000 people cry, scream, and lose their minds all at the same time. If you haven't heard the full story yet, get comfortable, grab your snacks, because this video is going to break down every single detail that made this moment one of the most iconic in K-pop history. Let's go? Before we dive into that jaw-dropping Stanford moment, we need to take a step back to understand just how massive the context of this whole thing really is. BTS, the biggest K-pop group in the world, had just completed their mandatory military service. For more than 3 years, ARMY all over the globe waited patiently. And when all 7 members finally reunited, what they did was not just another ordinary comeback. They immediately set the world on fire in the biggest way possible. Enter the BTS World Tour Arirang, the largest world tour in K-pop history. Think about it. 85 shows, covering 34 cities across 23 countries, kicking off in Goyang, South Korea on April 9th, 2026. This was not just a concert tour. This was a declaration. BTS is back, and they're coming in bigger than ever. And the name of the tour is no accident. Arirang, a Korean folk song that has existed for hundreds of years, a symbol of the soul and identity of the Korean people. By choosing this name, BTS was essentially saying, we are carrying the spirit of our ancestors to every corner of the world. The signature of this tour? A 360-degree stage. The audience surrounds the stage from all sides. No hidden angles, no better or worse seats. Everyone feels the presence of BTS directly, intimately, and powerfully. And then they arrived at Stanford Stadium, California, on May 16, 2026. This was the first time BTS had performed in the Bay Area since 2018. 8 years. Imagine the longing that had been building up for all that time. That night, Stanford Stadium was packed with 50,000 fans on opening night. 50,000 souls. In one place. All there for one single moment. To witness BTS return. The 360-degree stage stood magnificent at the center of the stadium. Massive lights illuminated the California night with breathtaking colors. Fireworks exploded in the sky. And when all 7 members of BTS stepped out, the stadium erupted. But among those 7 stars, there was one figure who immediately stole everyone's attention, even before he had the chance to open his mouth to sing. Park Jimin. And if you're asking, what made Jimin different that night? The answer comes down to 2 things: long blonde hair and a black leather costume. His blonde hair, long, wavy, styled in different ways throughout the night, from flowing freely, to braided, to tied back in a ponytail, that was not just a hairstyle choice. That was an artistic statement. Under the stage lights, every single strand of his hair looked like gleaming golden thread. As he moved, danced, and ran to the edge of the stage extending toward the audience. His hair moved with him like the wings of an angel. And his leather costume? Deep black, fitted in all the right places, with dramatic detailing. Not just clothing, it was the armor of a warrior, a king, a war god. That combination? Deadly. Almost immediately after the concert began, videos and photos of Jimin spread across every social media platform at a speed unlike anything seen before. Twitter/X exploded. Instagram was flooded with content. Reddit was buzzing with threads that had only one subject: Jimin at Stanford. In the world of ARMY, when Jimin does something extraordinary, fans don't just scream in awe, they create legends. And that night, a whole string of new nicknames were born and went instantly viral. Pretty Prince, for those who saw the ethereal, almost divine side of his appearance. That long blonde hair genuinely reminded people of princes from classic fairy tales. Rapunzelman, a mashup of Rapunzel and Jimin. Creative? Absolutely. Accurate? Even more so. Golden-haired warrior, the warrior with golden hair. This one was the most widely used nickname among international fans, and honestly, it is the most fitting description of the vibe Jimin was giving off that night. But there was one nickname that was perhaps the most epic of all, born from international fans watching his performance videos. They said Jimin looked like a character who had walked straight out of Game of Thrones. More specifically, they called him Stark Jimin and Targaryen Jimin, comparing him to the golden-haired noble families from that legendary series. And we also cannot forget the nickname that was born from the Goyang concert back in April, the Grand Duke of Northern. Because since this tour began, Jimin has consistently shown up with a grand, dark fantasy aesthetic, flowing blonde hair and dramatic black leather styling. All of these nicknames are not just internet jokes. They reflect just how powerful and distinctive Jimin's stage presence truly is. He is not just a singer performing on a stage. He is a character, a living, breathing persona in every single step of his performance. But let's be real, Jimin's visual appearance is only the surface. What truly made him a war god at Stanford was not just the costume. It was his stage performance. Picture this. On a 360-degree stage extending in every direction, Jimin did not stand still waiting for his turn. He ran to every corner of the stage, reaching every section of the audience, making eye contact with as many people as he possibly could. In one moment, he ran to the farthest tip of the stage, stood there, and simply waved and smiled toward the fans on that side. And thousands of people on that side instantly went hysterical. Not because of any special effect, not because the music was loud, but because Jimin saw them. Because in that 1 second, every single person on that side of the stadium felt that Jimin was there specifically for them. That is a power Jimin has that cannot be taught in any school. It is an innate charisma that has been sharpened over more than a decade on stage. His voice that night was equally extraordinary. Explosive vocal power combined with breathtaking footwork. Every spin he executed felt as light as a feather, but landed with the impact of a storm. And every time a chorus exploded, his voice cut through the California night air with a clarity that left the audience in absolute awe. Throughout the entire night, the stadium was filled with one chant that echoed without stopping. Jimin, Jimin, Jimin. And at his final farewell, Jimin stood at the center of the stage, looked out across the entire stadium, and spoke in his signature voice, calm, warm, and completely sincere. I was truly happy that your voices filled this place today. It will get colder as the night falls, so please all return safely. Simple, warm, genuine. And thousands of people cried when they heard it. Jimin's extraordinary performance at Stanford did not emerge from a vacuum. There is a very compelling piece of data we need to talk about. In the May 2026 boy group individual brand reputation survey, Jimin ranked number 1, first place, above every other male K-pop artist out there. And when analysts broke the data down further, the words most frequently associated with Jimin's name were perfect, enthusiastic, and breakthrough. Those 3 words are actually a perfect description of everything we witnessed at Stanford. Jimin performed with a visual and artistic perfection that sets him apart from everyone else. He brought an enthusiasm that has never dimmed, even after more than a decade in the industry. And he keeps making breakthroughs, aesthetically, musically, and in the way he connects with his audience. The fact that he claimed this ranking in the middle of the biggest concert tour of BTS's career is no coincidence. It is proof that Jimin knows exactly how to leave a lasting impression, and he does it every single night, in every city, at every show. Now let's talk about the set list. Because one of the things that makes the Arirang tour so special is this. At every single city, BTS performs 2 surprise songs, throwback tracks that are not on the Arirang album, and fans always wait for these surprises with wild anticipation. At Stanford, the surprise songs performed were Night 1, N.O. and On Palm in Night 2, Dope and Blood, Sweat and Tears Night 3, No More Dream, and I Need You. Just imagine hearing N.O., one of BTS's early debut-era songs, echoing through a massive stadium in California. Hearing I Need You, one of the most emotionally charged songs in all of BTS's discography, performed live with 50,000 people singing every single word together. That is not just nostalgia. That is a collective time travel. Longtime ARMY members who have followed BTS from the very beginning were in tears. New fans who only discovered BTS through the Erarang album immediately started searching for these older songs on Spotify the very next morning. And of course, beyond the surprise songs, the regular setlist was just as incredible. Fake Love, Mic Drop, Idol, Dynamite, Fire, Butter, all the BTS anthems that have defined a generation, all in one night. A complete journey through every single era of BTS. As for the new songs from the Erarang album, which were specifically designed for massive stages, they brought a visual and sonic dimension that had never been felt before. The 360-degree stage with fireworks, lasers, and a sophisticated lighting system made every single song feel like a living, breathing short film. There is something important to understand about Jimin, something that sets him apart from so many other artists in the world. He does not just perform for his fans. He performs with his fans. Every wave of his hand, every smile toward the camera, every moment he ran to the edge of the stage to be closer to the audience. None of that was simply choreography. That was a conversation between Jimin and the 50,000 souls who were present that night. There was one particular moment from this concert that went massively viral. During an intimate segment where the lights were dimmed and only a single spotlight followed Jimin, he stood still for a moment, looked out across the entire stadium, and then smiled. Not a smile for the camera, not a smile for the performance, but the smile of someone who is genuinely, deeply happy to be there. Fans who were in attendance described that moment as feeling like time had stopped, like 50,000 people were breathing in the exact same rhythm. And let's not forget, this was BTS's first performance in the Bay Area since 2018. Many of the fans there that night were people who had been waiting 8 years for this moment. Some had traveled from every corner of the United States. Some had flown in from overseas. Some had been saving money for months, just to be able to stand inside that stadium. Jimin knew all of that, and he responded by giving everything. Every drop of energy, every vocal melody, every rotation of every choreography move. And if you think Stanford was the peak of all of this, hold on. Because the BTS story in 2026 is far from over. In fact, it has barely begun. BTS will make history as the first K-pop group to perform at the halftime show of the Men's FIFA World Cup, an event set to take place in July 2026. This is a stage that is even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a moment that will be watched simultaneously by billions of people across the entire world. Picture Jimin, with his long blonde hair, his dramatic black costume, that stage presence like a living war god, performing in front of the largest global audience that has ever existed in the history of sports and entertainment. The world is not ready. And if the Stanford performance was the warm-up for that, then all of us need to start mentally and emotionally preparing ourselves for what is coming. In the middle of all this excitement, there is a question worth asking. What makes Jimin different? Because the entertainment world is full of talented people, full of handsome, gifted, charismatic artists. But not many are capable of creating the kind of effect that Jimin created at Stanford. The answer, in my view, comes down to several things. First, totality. Jimin never does anything halfway. When he is on that stage, he gives 100%, maybe even 150%. Every night, every show, there are no days off from charisma. Second, authenticity. His parting words at Stanford, "I was truly happy that your voices filled this place today," were not PR script. Not a line rehearsed over and over. That was a genuine feeling, delivered in the most human way possible. And the audience could feel it. Third, relentless evolution. Jimin never stops growing. From BTS's debut more than a decade ago, to solo albums, to becoming a Dior global ambassador, to now arriving as a golden-haired warrior at Stanford, he keeps discovering a newer, better version of himself. Fourth, his connection to his fans. ARMY is not just a fan base to Jimin. They are part of his identity as an artist. The way he runs to every corner of the stage, the way he makes eye contact, the way he smiles at fans who have been waiting for years, all of it reflects a deep, genuine understanding of what it means to be an artist who is truly loved. The words that appeared in that brand reputation survey, perfect, enthusiastic, breakthrough, are not just a description of his career. They are a description of who he is as a human being. So, there you have it. The complete story of a night that no one who was inside Stanford Stadium on May 16, 2026, will ever forget. Long blonde hair flowing like a golden crown. A magnificent black leather costume like the armor of a war god. Running to every corner of the stage to reach every single heart. A voice that split open the California sky. And final words as warm as a hug. Jimin did not just perform at Stanford. Jimin carved himself into the memory of 50,000 people forever. And for those of us who watch from afar, through videos, photos, viral tweets, and stories spreading all over the internet, we know that we are witnessing something rare. Something that does not happen every day. Something that fans will tell their children and grandchildren about someday. I was there the night Jimin became a war god at Stanford. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Share it with every ARMY and K-pop lover who needs to know this epic story. And you, have you already watched the Stanford concert footage? Which nickname is your favorite? Pretty Prince, Rapunzelman, Golden-Haired Warrior, or Stark Jimin? Drop it in the comments. See you in the next video. Stay healthy, stay passionate, and just like Jimin said, please return safely. ARMY forever. Purple Heart.